All right, today we are diving into something really exciting, a brand new way of thinking about AI called chain of agents. Now, this is a breakthrough that promises to make our AI assistants not just a little bit smarter, but fundamentally better at handling the kind of complex, multi-step problems that we all face every single day.
So, let's start with a big question, just to frame this whole thing. What if a single AI could act like an entire team of specialists? You know, like a researcher, a planner, a fact-checker, maybe even a coder, all working together perfectly inside one mind to solve a problem. That's the huge idea we're going to unpack today.
So here's how we'll break it down. First, we'll talk about the big challenge that AI agents are up against right now. Then we'll look at the two main ways people have tried to fix it and why they're not quite working. After that, we'll get into Chain of Agents itself, how it's built, and finally, the part you've been waiting for, the seriously impressive results.
Okay, so the big dream for AI agents is for them to be these amazing, super competent assistants that can juggle complicated, multi-part tasks for us. But there's been a major roadblock holding us back.
And here's the core of the problem. We can build powerful AI agents, for sure, but the systems we have today are just, well, they're clunky. A lot of the time, they're painfully slow. They cost a fortune to run. And because they can't easily adapt to new information, trying to get them ready for a new task is a total nightmare.
To try and get around this, researchers have pretty much split into two different camps, each with its own strategy. But as you're about to see, both of these approaches have a pretty big flaw.
On one side, you've got what's called multi-agent systems, or MAS. Think of this like a team of experts, right? But they're all in their own separate offices. They're brilliant specialists, but getting them to communicate and work together is super slow and burns through a ton of money and resources. Then on the other side, there's tool-integrated reasoning, or TIR. This is more like one really brilliant intern with an amazing set of tools. It's fast, it's efficient, but the second a problem needs some real deep teamwork, it just hits a brick wall.
And this table from the research paper just lays it all out perfectly. It shows you exactly what I'm talking about. You can see how the older methods all have these big gaps. The multi-agent systems, they can't be trained from start to finish. The tool-integrated models, they can't do that crucial multi-agent collaboration. Look at that bottom row. Only chain of agents checks every single box. It's the whole package.
So, to finally solve this problem, researchers from Oppo's AI agent team came up with a new approach that really does give you the best of both worlds. Let's dig into how it actually works.
They call it chain of agents, or COA for short. And the idea is just, it's so smart. Instead of having a bunch of different AIs trying to talk to each other, you simulate that entire team collaboration inside a single AI model. What you get is this incredibly efficient internal hive mind.
Now, here's what's so different about it. You see, the older models were stuck in this really rigid step-by-step process. It was always think, then do one action, then look at the result. That's it. Rinse and repeat.
But Chain of Agents is totally different. It's dynamic. The model can call on a whole team of internal agents whenever it needs to. It can plan, then think, then maybe search the web, then reflect on what it found, verify that the logic holds up, and then come up with an answer. It's flexible, just like a real project team would be.
So how in the world do you teach a single AI to act like an entire team of experts? Well, it's a really clever two-step process that basically boils down the wisdom of many different agents into just one.
The first step is called multi-agent distillation. What the researchers do is they take a really advanced multi-agent system and just have it solve thousands and thousands of problems. They record every single step, every conversation between the agents, and they use all of those successful examples to teach their new single model how an expert team thinks and works. Then, for step 2, they use reinforcement learning. They let the model practice on new problems all by itself, rewarding it when it does well, which makes it even smarter and sharper over time.
Now, all of that sounds fantastic in theory, right? But the real test is, does it actually work out in the real world? Let's take a look at the numbers. So the big question is, does this new hive mind approach actually deliver on its promises? The researchers put their model, which they call an Agent Foundation Model, or AFM, up against some of the toughest tests out there.
And on the Gaia benchmark, which is designed to test AI assistants on really complex, real-world questions, the results are just crystal clear. The Chain of Agents model, AFM, scored a 55.3, beating out the other top methods like WebSailor and WebDancer. It's a new state-of-the-art performance, plain and simple.
And it's not a one-trick pony either.
on the AMY 25 benchmark, and this is a collection of seriously difficult math competition problems. The AME model, again, comes out on top. It solved almost 60% of them. That is a massive leap of over 10 percentage points compared to the very best methods we had before.
But honestly, this might be the most jaw-dropping result of all: the efficiency. By keeping all that teamwork inside one model, Chain of Agents cuts down the token cost, which is basically the amount of computer power you need, by a staggering 84.6% compared to those traditional multi-agent systems. It's not just smarter, it is dramatically cheaper to run.
The researchers really sum it up perfectly in their paper. The big innovation here, the key takeaway, is that they've created a totally new way for AI to solve problems. It takes the power of a whole team and puts it directly inside one brain, making it way more capable and way more efficient at the same time.
And this all leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. When you make AI agents that aren't just more powerful, but also way more efficient, well, that opens the door to tackling problems that we thought were too complex or just too expensive to even try before. So now the question isn't just if we'll solve them, but what huge challenge will we decide to take on first?